Hey guys, since January 2015, I've owned this Feiyu-Tech G4 3-axis gimbal, and it's worked fairly well, but what I've noticed is that the camera actually tilts a little bit to the side. So I went on YouTube, and here's another example of someone who's having the same problem. When you play the video here, you can actually see that theirs is very tilted. Everything looks kind of funky. Mine isn't quite so bad, but I'm going to try to demonstrate what I've been experiencing here. So there we go, it's switched on, and you can just see that it's tilting to the right, kind of this way a little bit. It's not quite level. It seems like the best way to deal with this is to update the firmware, or at least that was my initial thinking. So, of course, I went online, started looking at the Feiyu-Tech website, actually found some forums that were talking about this, and there's all these steps. You got to download the firmware upgrade and the USB driver, because you can't just plug it directly in. You need this funky little extra dongle, or you might like overload the circuitry, and it's really annoying. But the product is so great, and it really stabilizes your shots. I'm actually using a newer version right now, and I'm very pleased with it. But I still want to use this old version. I don't want that tilted effect going on. So anyway, you download just a bunch of things, and if you click this link right here, they're saying, hey, here's where you get the software. Well, URL's not found on this server, and so I actually tried to visit a cached page of this on Google. I was able to go directly through the Feiyu-Tech homepage and go to their downloads page, but it doesn't list any of the files I need. So I've reached out to them. I haven't heard back. It's just really annoying, frustrating situation. So I found another YouTube video where they were talking about, in the comments, hey, I actually unscrewed mine and was able to untwist the cables, and that solved the issue for me. So I'm not sure. I haven't actually unscrewed mine, but I do have these Allen keys. I think this is 1.5 millimeter. It's like super small, and I'm just gonna open this thing up and see what we can figure out in there. Okay, I've unscrewed this outer portion and looked inside. To be honest with you, the cables don't look twisted to me. This gimbal looks like it's pretty good. Coming back to the software calibration approach, I think you're supposed to be able to just kind of like dial in. I'm still hoping to get a response and do that, but I'm going to go ahead and open the other side, because again, these wires, they look straight. Everything looks pretty good from what I can tell. Okay, I'm in a bit of a delicate spot here, but you might be able to see, pulling this PCB, printed circuit board, up, there are those wires underneath. See how they're fairly straight now? A moment ago, I was kind of spinning this bottom piece to help kind of align them so that they can be straight, and now I'm going to reposition it back down on these pins. You have to be very careful, and you risk electrostatic discharge by touching this stuff, so I recommend having one of those bracelets that attaches to a lab bench. This is a bit of a last-ditch effort on my part, so I'm just kind of freestyling it, but I'm going to get this back on. Hopefully that helps. I'm not even sure if these are the cables that would cause this sort of rotational challenge. I think so, because they're at the back, and they sort of pivot the thing like this, and again, mine was sort of drifting to the left. So I'm hoping that straightening these out, just tightening everything back up, solves this. Well, despite my best efforts here, you can see that the camera is still tipped. Instead of being level, it's kind of off to the side. That's too bad, because I really like this thing, but it ends up getting kind of funky shots as a result. Okay guys, I've been trying not to give up. I went online, I was able to find sort of an archived manual for the G4 3-axis gimbal. I was just rereading this, and I do remember seeing some instructions when I first got it, because I read through, and it says initializing the gimbal. So install the camera properly. I assume they mean batteries. Place the gimbal on stationary flat surface and keep motionless. Power on the gimbal. The gimbal is activated and it will be initialized automatically. Afterwards, pick up the gimbal and start working with it. So when they show this picture of it sort of on its side with the camera facing forward, and it talks about the gimbal needing to be initialized whenever the following situations appear: after powering on the angle of pitch is not level with the horizon line, the angle of roll is not parallel with the horizon line, or whenever the gimbal is in heading lock, the angle of heading moves frequently. Heading is not stationary. So they're describing what I was talking about, where mine isn't parallel with the horizon. So I'm going to give that a try. Just been charging it up. It's all back together. It seems to be working all right. It's just it hasn't been level. So following that guide, it seems like we've got it, sitting like this. It's not perfectly flat because of the sort of the bolt down there. I just want to make sure that the button's supposed to be up like that. Yeah, they have the button up. They have the camera facing forward, and I think this is what they're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm just powered on. Okay. That's a little awkward. And it shows it. There's kind of like flashing light down there. Blue flashing light. Let me come back up here. It says, note the LED of the function button will fast flashing if the initialization succeeded. So fast flashing. I don't know if I'd consider that fast, but I guess I can pick it up and so do the same test I did earlier. Does that look flatter? Now it's almost like it's definitely higher on the left than it was before. If you remember, it was kind of sagging off to the left. Now it's almost like tilted the other direction. I'm going to just do my double click and get the panning. It would be really nice to have the software, because they say you can speed up the response, and right now I feel like it's in kind of medium. It's not responding super fast. I feel like I should try that one more time. I mean, that's flash, 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 flash. Okay, let's turn this off, and whoa boy. Okay, now let's just see how it flashes normally. Flash, flash, flash. Okay. It does look a lot straighter. So maybe that's the secret, is just to do that initialization every once in a while. I don't want to strain those motors or anything. But yeah, it's a lot straighter. I hope that helps someone else. Again, I'm open to having people comment on what's worked for them, or maybe I needed to straighten the wires a little bit more, or maybe I'm not doing the initialization properly. I feel like I'm running out of options here, and without being able to download the firmware and check that, seems like it's not available anywhere to download anymore. So I hope this helps other people who are in a similar position, and yeah, good luck.